Hello everyone. Good evening everyone. Namaskar. I hope all are safe and doing well. I, Sachin Chavan from Anand Rathi Share and Stock Brokers, welcome you all for a unique webinar on investment opportunities and market outlook in association with Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company. I would like to thank each of our stakeholders, honorable clients, passionate employees, and business partners. Today we have more than 3,500 plus employees and 1,200 plus business partners managing more than 5 lakh clients. Our group company Anand Rathi Wealth Limited recently got listed on both exchanges. Thank you all investors for their trust on us. Now, I would like to call our leader and CEO, Mr. Roop Bhootra, sir, to guide us on market outlook and opportunities in current market scenario. I'll just give a brief idea about Mr. Roop, sir. He is basically a rank holder, chartered accountant, and began his career with the Anand Rathi Group in the year 1995. He has over 27-year capital market experience in the field of building business, creating business strategies, sales, operations, process management, accounting, risk management, and technology upgradations. Under his spearheading leaderships, the broking and distribution business has grown a rapid pace. Now I would like to call Roop sir. Over to you, Roop sir.
Thank you, Sachin, for warm welcome. Good evening to all the investors and our business partners. I welcome you all to this particular webinar on market outlook and what will be the future going forward for the capital market. So before we begin this particular session, I would like to express my heartfelt condolence for the sad demise of the big bull of Indian capital market, Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. That's really a sad thing which has happened on 14th August. He was an amazing personality and his contribution in the capital market will always be remembered because he was altogether different in terms of his investment style, and many young people follow his style of investment. They try to go into that particular thing, and we always remember that particular contribution towards this particular market. Now coming back to this particular webinar, it is our pleasure to organize this particular webinar once again with Nilesh bhai. Last time also we have organized a particular webinar with Nilesh bhai, and always it's really good to hear to Nilesh bhai whenever he is there on this particular platform of the investor meet. We learned a lot from him. So this particular moment where market is just 4% away from its all-time high level. All-time high level was 18,600 and currently market has reached to cross 17,900 today. And other side, I will say the recent bottom which has been formed, that was at the level of 15,200 in just 2 months back. That level was there. And from there market has grown almost 18%. So now there is ambiguity is there in the mind of investors whether this market momentum will continue or whether there will be a fall in the market, whether recession will be there in the global countries, how much India is going to be impacted by those things, and whether this is a right time to invest into market or not. These all questions are there in the investor's mind. And considering that, we thought this is a better time and opportunity to get the view from the Nilesh bhai. And before Nilesh bhai's presentation or Nilesh bhai's communication, I would like to share a limited presentation from my side. I know you people are eager to hear from Nilesh bhai, but then also a limited presentation from my side, which I would like to share with you. And idea is clearly, yes, whether we can really time the market or not, whether it's the right time or not. So I would like to share that presentation. Let me share it. I hope each one can see this presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So first question which is there in case of equity market, everybody is feeling this volatility which is very, very high. There are many new entrants also to this particular market. and where they have seen first time after a peak level which has been achieved, post that the fall which they have seen, that was the first time for many new entrant after this pandemic has happened. There were lots of investor which has increased during this particular period. So they have seen this volatility and they are having this particular fear whether this volatility is good for the market or not, whether we should continue to be into this particular market or not. So I would like to highlight just a limited things about this particular volatility. You can see whenever there is a big volatility or big fall in the market, what has happened, I have shown the three scenario. So first I have shown the 2008 when Lehman Brothers crash was there. At that point of time, 2008 Feb, market was there, Nifty was there at 4949, and from that particular level it went down by 54%. But after went down by 54%, within 2 years, Nifty has reached to 6,335 level. That was 181% jump post that. Similar way, in case of March 15, when this demonetization happened, post that 9,100 plus level, it went down to 6,990 level. And from 6,990 level, this has reached to the level of 11,121 again within 2 years. So within 2 years, it has reached to 59% growth. So from 23% down, it went to 59%. And third time in Jan 20, when market was there at 12,333, post that, because of the pandemic, market went down by 37%. And Nifty has reached to 7,700 level, and from there, again within a short period of time, it was 1.5 years, market went up by 132%, and it was at a new high post that. So volatility, yes, volatility provide the opportunity. मार्केट में एक दफे बहुत दफे लोग बोलते हैं भाई हमको वापस अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी या नहीं मिलेगी जिस टाइम में मार्केट बढ़ जाता है, बट वापस जब फॉल आता है उस टाइम में ये फियर होता है कि whether it's the right time to invest into this particular market or not. So I personally feel each of these market provides the opportunity whenever there is a big fall and there is a fear in the market that provides us the opportunity. The second important thing, sometimes people say whether I should invest into equity or not because it's a very risky market. So yes, this market is a very volatile market. There is always a risk by putting money into equity side. So different crash which has happened into this particular market, we have highlighted on one side. The other side, we have highlighted that despite whatever crashes has happened, whatever big failure was there in terms of the returns and other thing, if somebody has continued basis investing into this particular market, then he is able to generate return more than 11 to 12%, irrespective of whatever crashes was there. So yes, you need to continue invest for the long term, irrespective of thinking in terms of yes, whether this sort of scenario will come of the crashes or not, whether some events will come or not. So this is the second slide. Third thing, the difference between the equity market versus the gold, silver. People keep on saying that gold is the safe haven. Yes, we should invest into that. So we are not saying that yeah, gold is not the gold or silver, those are not the right investment. But yes, we need to divide over the investment. And there I have highlighted by this particular slide that with 10 grams gold, if I will say in 1981, it was there at 1800. And currently, if we will see, then that 1800 has become 52,000. So 26 times in 40 years. As compared to that, silver, that has also grown from 2,700 to 58,000, and that has grown by 25 times. But if we will say on the Sensex side, in 81, it was there at 170 level, and currently it's crossed 58,000 level. So it's 335 times in 40 years. So because of the impact of the compounding and also from the high return, you can see the how much difference it has created in terms of the multiple. Sometimes we will say we are comparing with too old a data, and if we will compare with continuously that data, then naturally market was at a nascent stage in the beginning. So there I also try to highlight this particular last 10 years CAGR return. In case of Sensex, it has given 13% kind of return in last 10 years in CAGR terms. Gold has given 5.6%, silver has given 0.7%. property market data, there is nothing called index or something. Different places, the properties are working in a different manner. But if we can see the property related returns, then generally these properties are giving return to the tune of 9 to 10%. And along with that, the factor of the illiquid asset will also be there. So yes, 13% return. So equities in all these asset class, in long run, equity has given the better return. In short run, yes, volatility play a more important role. These all data were there related to the past thing, whatever I have shown. So this one slide, no doubt, Nilesh bhai will give more briefing in terms of the economy scenario, but just this is a limited slide, how currently the economy is behaving. So last 12 months data as compared to previous 12 months, same, I will say the corresponding period, we have compared the data. And there we will find that at a different sectors or different items, like in terms of proposed investment, there is a growth of 311%. In case of rail passenger, 89% growth is there. Air passenger, 70% growth is there. So different field, different percentage of growth is there. So except the FDI investment where degrowth is there, or two-wheeler production, their degrowth is there. Otherwise, everywhere there is a growth. If we will compare the 12-month data of the last 12 months versus prior to that 12-month corresponding data. So yes, fundamental side also economy is doing better. Now I would like to highlight, because people keep on asking if you can give some stock tips in this particular market. So I don't believe in any stock related tips. I believe more in terms of, yes, highlighting that what are the important rules for the investment and which is going to work you for long term rather than for short term. So first important thing, the key to wealth creation is staying invested for long term. And there you can see this particular chart where the red is showing the negative return between different 0 to 30%, 30 to 60%. So 30 to 60%, one time in 2008, it went down to 52%. Otherwise, between 0 to 30, there are 9 instances total. So these data they are related to from 1980 to 2021. And in those data, 10 instances are there which are on the when market has fallen in a full year. And other than that, your total 31 instances are there when market has given the positive return. Returns were different during different years, but on overall basis, we can see that how many times market has given the positive return in a full year as compared to the negative return on the other side. And especially if you will see even 60 and above percentage kind of return, that has also been given by market 5 times during this particular tenure of 81 to 80 to 21. And in case of 30 to 60 also, there are multiple instances. So the idea is clearly, yes, we need to continue to be in the market for long-term period. And there, as I mentioned, historically CAGR returns are there between 13 to 15%, irrespective of any long tenure you will choose. So that's the advantage. The second important thing is the power of the compounding, and where we keep on communicating to our client for the SIP investment. So this is just a table which is showing if somebody has invested 1,000 rupee, he has started 1,000 rupee investment, and if keep on doing on monthly basis, then for 20 years, if he will do the investment, then with 12% CAGR return, his money, the principal amount will be 2,40,000, and that will become almost 10 lakhs rupee with 12% CAGR. With 15% CAGR, it can grow up to 15 lakhs plus kind of thing, and with 19% CAGR, 23 lakhs plus. So that is the power of the compounding, where with any incremental percentage in your return on CAGR term, your money will be multiplied or at a much higher pace. The second rule, yes, equity has lots of advantage, but the idea is clearly, yes, you should not put your entire money into equity as a single asset class. There is a saying, yes, don't put all your egg into one basket. And that is also applicable to your investment, where different investment asset classes are there. You need to define your total asset allocation. We as an organization or other organization can help you in terms of allocating your particular asset based on your risk profile, and at how you need to increase your allocation to a particular asset class at different point of time. Those things are also very, very important. whenever there is a fear into any particular asset class on a massive basis, at that point of time, if we will try to see the further allocation towards those asset class rather than removing money from that particular asset class, that can improve your return in long term. This is the slide, which is again very important. Like I mentioned, people are thinking whether this is a right time or no, whether we have to invest into equity at this point of time or no. So this slide shows, okay, if you are continuously invested, this slide shows the data from the 2009 Jan, from 2009 Jan to till now. If somebody has invested and continuously is there, remained into invested into equity, then his return is there on gross basis 509%. Somebody who is trying to time the market, and if he will loses on the best 5 days in this particular sequence, then his return will reduce to just 296% from the 509%, and it will keep on reducing with the if you will miss the best day. So suggestion is that if you are really invested into equity, you have to stay here for a longer tenure and don't worry about the timing of the market, how you have to do in a particular market, whether you need to invest or not. But if your investment is for a shorter cycle, then my suggestion is if your cycle is less than 1 year or so, then it's better to avoid the equity market. Equity market is better for the 3 years tenure at least. And this is the last rule which I am mentioning. That is for any investment, not only equity investment, it's required a disciplined approach and review at least on quarterly basis. That doesn't mean you need to churn your portfolio. No, that is not required. So yes, here few ideas: buy and accumulate good quality stock. So there you need to become a stock specific, subject to you are into this particular business, because I personally found stock market investment or equity market investment or investment into any other asset class is a full-fledged business. So yes, if you can provide the time towards this particular thing, then you need to select the specific stocks at your own. Otherwise, you can take help from the research advisor. Second thing, if you don't have sufficient time, mutual fund industry, mutual fund provides you lots of benefit, and there people are working with a very limited cost for you and growing your investment. Always mutual fund has given in long term alpha as compared to the Nifty index or Sensex, they have given alpha. So invest through mutual fund route in lump sum or ETF, or if you can invest on a continued basis, then please invest it through SIP basis. And I have already shown the compounding impact on the SIP. Other thing, stick to the quality businesses, which is run by the professional and honest and competent management, which is very, very necessary. In case you have invested money into any particular asset class and you find that there are any challenges with the promoters in terms of their honesty, then my suggestion is please exit from that particular investment. The other thing, review your portfolio on periodically basis and increase allocation, which I already mentioned, at the time of the fear. So this is all on this particular presentation side. So now I'm ever about, yes, you people are eager on hearing to Nilesh Bhai. Nilesh Bhai as such, he doesn't require any introduction. He is known in the industry since long, and he keeps on adding new feathers to his career head on continued basis. But still, for the benefit of the new investor, I request my colleague Naresh to have a brief introduction of Nilesh Bhai. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Roop sir, for your insight overview of market and investment strategy. Hello, everyone. This is Naresh Sharma from Anand Rathi Shares and Stock Brokers Limited. Now we all know the personality who don't need any introduction, Mr. Nilesh Shah, who is a group president, managing director of Kotak Mahindra AMC, with over 30 years of experience in capital market, having worked in ICICI Group, Axis Bank Group, and Franklin Templeton. He's been a part of teams that have received the Best Fund House of the Year award at Franklin Templeton, ICICI Prudential, and also at Kotak Mutual Fund. Mr. Nilesh Shah is a board member of AMFI, a member of SEBI Corporate Bonds and Securitization Advisory Committee, and part-time member of Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. So before handing over to the audiences, that if you wish to ask any questions from our speaker, please do write in the chat box and will be answered at the end of presentation. Nilesh sir, over to you.
Thank you, Naresh Bhai. Thank you, Roop bhai, for setting the background of our market. And मतलब क्या बात करें इंडिया की, आप में से जो लोग राहु एस्ट्रोलॉजी में बिलीव करते हैं, they know that in Rahu Kal, whatever you do, things don't turn out right. Now, in India's Kundli, Rahu Kal begins when oil prices go above $100. We import 4 million barrels of oil every day. When oil goes up by $25, like it happened recently, we lose $100 million or 800 crore every day. In 10 days, that becomes 8,000 crore. In 1 month, it becomes 24,000 crore. And in 12 months, it becomes roughly about 3 lakh crore. So our Rahu Kal starts when oil prices go higher. But there is also Ketu in our Kundli, which is COVID-19. It came unexpectedly in March 2020. We had to have a very strict lockdown. And thereafter, COVID-19 has continued to impact rest of the world, including India. In 2021, we all witnessed fight for oxygen and medicine and hospital bed. Today, the world is witnessing similar thing. COVID-19 increased inflation. It disrupted supply chain. It impacted jobs. And it has turmoiled entire global economy. Between 2014 to 2022, over last 8 years, we witnessed higher oil prices. We witnessed COVID-19. And despite that, we have done well. We were 10th largest economy in 2014. We became 6th largest in 2021. And by the end of calendar year 2022, we will become 5th largest, overtaking UK. By 2030, we will be bigger than Germany and Japan to be the 3rd largest economy in the world. Our share in global GDP was 2.6% in 2014. Despite Rahu and Ketu, we have increased it to 3.2%. It's a jump of about 0.6% in 8 years. This is the fastest ever increase in India's independent history. Our share in global trade and exports was 2%. That has barely increased to 2.2%. Clearly, we have a lot to do on exports, but that's where China Plus One and PLI scheme is coming into play. More importantly, in the world, when someone wants to invest $100, in 2014, they used to give us $2. Now, they are giving us $7. We are one of the largest FDI recipient in the world. This has been achieved despite higher oil prices, despite COVID. Now, someone can argue, Nilesh bhai, if you are giving this data, why is it not reflected in ground? Well, it is reflected in the ground. We were 4th largest steel producer in 2014. Now we are 2nd largest. We produce more steel than US, then Russia, then Brazil, then Europe. We were 7th largest manufacturer of automobiles. Now we are 4th largest. And the pace at which we are producing motor cars, we will become 3rd largest, overtaking Japan in few years. We were 12th largest manufacturer of mobile handsets in 2014. Today, we are second largest. Recently, I was in America, in New York. I went to Grand Central Railway Station where there is an Apple showroom. And it was really proud to see Made in India boxes there. We now produce more mobile phones than US, then Vietnam, then Korea. And the pace at which we are producing mobile phones will become the largest mobile phone maker in the world. So on the ground, in industry, the impact is visible. Does it mean that we have achieved everything? Answer is no. Inflation is at 8-year high. But globally, inflation is 10-year, 20-year, 30-year, and 40-year high. If oil prices go higher, if supply chain gets disrupted, there's nothing India can do to control inflation. But this is probably the first time in our independent history where Indian inflation is below American inflation by 2 percentage points in last 1 year. Our inflation, which is 8-year high, is lower than American inflation. The small and medium enterprises undoubtedly has been hit hard by COVID, and many of them are facing challenge. But clearly, it is important to look at overall economy rather than just segments of economy which are in trouble. In a large country like India, there will be always something which is good and something which is not so good. Now, next question that comes, that Nilesh bhai, if you portrayed India's economy so well, then why are foreigners selling? गोरों में तो हमसे ज्यादा अक्ल होती है. अगर वो लोग बेच रहे हैं तो कुछ ना कुछ तो गड़बड़ होगी इंडिया में. Well, foreigners are selling, in our opinion, because of 3 reasons. One, they made so much money in India compared to other markets. In Russia, they have lost $280 billion. They have lost $280 billion. In China, they are losing money. They can't get exit. In Turkey, in South Africa, in Brazil, they all have lost money. अगर आपको प्रॉफिट बुक करना है तो कहां पे करेंगे? जहां पे प्रॉफिट है वहां पे या जहां पे लॉस है वहां पे? So people booked profit in India because we delivered more return than all the emerging markets. Over the last 10 years, we have delivered double the return of our peers. इतना पैसा बना के दिया, लोगों ने थोड़ा प्रॉफिट बुक कर लिया. Number 2, our valuation have always traded at a premium to our peer group. But now we are trading way above our historical average premium to our peer group. बाकी देशों के सामने हम महंगे हैं. People are selling because we are expensive. Third, in our market, there is exit. In South Africa, over the last 10 years, they have made zero return. अब बेचने जाएंगे तो zero will become -10. In India, they have made 8% return in dollar terms. But that is after they have taken away $35 billion between October 21 to June 22. So we provided exit, we gave profit, and we were expensive. That's why foreigners sold. In fact, out of $35 billion, $8 billion is sold in just HDFC Group. But then foreigners realized that we are booking profit and putting into markets which are not doing well. In the month of July, our markets went up 10%. Chinese market went down 9%. On a emerging market index where 50% is between China and India, the gap was 20%. Now foreigners realize that India बेच के फायदा नहीं है. If we continue to sell India, then we will be cutting our profitable trades. We'll be getting out of the most exciting story of growth in the world. Why should we leave India? So they are making a U-turn and they are coming back. Will foreigners be always buyer of Indian stock? Answer is no. There will be some guys who will be booking profit. There will be some guys who will be buying. But overall, I will be reasonably confident to say that the worst of the foreign portfolio selling is now behind us. They will be incremental buyer on Indian equity as long as we maintain this growth story. The second question which comes, that how confident we are about India's growth. We believe Indian growth story is looking fantastic. Yesterday, Deepak Parekh gave an interview that he was never bullish on India in his life like he is today. Deepak Bhai is senior citizen of India, senior captain of India. If he says that this is time to be maximum bullish on India, I'm sure he knows what he's talking about. Every captain of industry whom we are meeting, they are now saying that Indian growth story is in place. Let me give you just one example to convince you about India growth story. In 2014, our import of mobile phone was $8 billion. मोटा मोटा 50,000 करोड़ से ज्यादा के मोबाइल फोन हम इंपोर्ट करते थे. There were 3 factories making mobile handsets in India in those days, and the turnover was about 22,000 crore. So whenever you and I used to buy mobile phones, the benefits were in Vietnam, South Korea, China, and other parts of the world. When government came to power, they realized that there is a need to start making mobile phones in India. Otherwise, our electronic imports will be more than our oil import. एक राहु हमारी कुंडली में काफी है, एक और ऐड हो जाता ऑयल के साथ साथ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स. The government did many things. Today, in 2022, our mobile phone export is $5 billion. There are 200 plus factories making mobile phones having turnover of 220,000 crore. It's giving jobs and employment. The world's largest mobile handset manufacturing factory is in Agra, operated by Samsung. Now, this is how India has captured the opportunity in mobile handsets. Have we done everything? Answer is no. Right now, we are still assembler of mobile handsets. But now, because we are creating a scale of production, component suppliers are setting up their factory. जैसे मारुति के साथ हुआ, वैसा ही मोबाइल हैंडसेट्स में हो रहा है. एप्पल के साथ साथ उसके 3 कंपोनेंट सप्लायर, पेगाट्रॉन, फॉक्सकॉन एंड विंस्टोन आ गए. They are making glass over here, they are making panels over here, they are making PCB board over here. The heart of the mobile phone is semiconductor chip. In the entire world, there are only 4 or 5 countries like US, Germany, South Korea, Taiwan, China, which can make semiconductor chips. In the entire world, there is one company, a Dutch company, which supplies plants for making semiconductor chip. It's a closely guarded technology. If India can bring semiconductor chip making plants that will complete vertical integration in mobile handsets, our value add will go up from 15-20% to more than 70-80%. Now, the government is working with various companies to bring semiconductor chip manufacturing in India. Once that happens, we will be as leading a player on mobile handsets as we are in generic pharma or IT services. This is just one example over last 8 years, where through public-private partnership, we have been able to convert import into export and expand local manufacturing. There are many, many reasons where we believe India growth story will continue, and that will be reflected into the stock market. When I started my career, Indian economy was about $200 billion. In 2021, it reached $3 trillion because of COVID. Our market cap went up around $2.8 trillion in that period. Over 30 years, economy expanded by about $2.8 trillion. Market cap expanded by about $2.8 trillion. Over a long period of time, countries' market cap and countries' GDP will go along. Now, over next 8-9 years, we will move from $3 trillion to $6 trillion. Hopefully, market cap also will move from $3 trillion to $6 trillion. Over next 8 years, you have the same opportunity to make money in terms of size, which you made over last 30 years. Now, don't mistake that 3,000 over $200 billion is 15 times return. 6,000 over 3,000 is just 2 times return. But at the end of the day, समंदर में गोता मारेंगे तो आपको बहुत बड़ा space मिलेगा. The size of pie to make money between 2021 and 2030 is bigger than what was available between 1991 and 2021. In 30 years, what you could make in terms of size is the opportunity over next 8-9 years. As Roop mentioned, invest in good companies run by good managers, stay invested over a longer period of time, withstand volatility. If FPIs come and sell and markets correct, great opportunity to increase your allocation. If COVID-19 happens and hurts our economic prospect, great opportunity to increase allocation because we will overcome those uncertainties, those issues. Essentially, stay invested in India growth story. There is fundamental as well as flows coming together. There is no other market in the world where growth, green, and governance comes together to provide an incredible opportunity to investors. You, as an Indian investor, should not let go this opportunity. With this, I'll end my talk, but happy to answer your questions.
Yes, sir. Okay, if first question, thank you, Nilesh sir. As we open for Q&A, first question we have is one of the audience would like to know your expert opinion on multiplex stocks, example PVR, Mukta Arts, etc.
So if you look at multiplex companies, there is virtually oligopoly emerging as there is a consolidation happening. Now, clearly, earlier when we used to go to a dabba theater, the puri family ki outing, including samosa and ticket and thumbs up, will be equivalent to X rupees. Today, we are spending more than that in buying popcorn in a multiplex. So clearly, there is a huge increase in expenditure at multiplex compared to dabba theater. In many towns, watching a movie in multiplex is the only outing available. There are no parks, there are no public spaces, and hence people go to watch movies. Now, all these things, along with consolidation and distribution, gives tremendous opportunity to multiplex operator. The competition to multiplex is essentially coming from OTT. the multiplex cost has become expensive for an average Indian. On the other hand, OTT gives better quality content at a very, very throwaway price. A middle class family is more likely to watch a movie in OTT than go to multiplex. Now, this is the reason why there is consolidation happening in multiplex. Now, as an investor, I have to take a call. Will multiplex be able to bring investors or consumers from their house and OTT platforms to theater? Now, आजकल जो boycott का mood चला है, that has created a serious doubt. If there are movies which are big budget movie and which doesn't work, then the distributor also loses, multiplex also loses. Our view is right now, let's wait and watch how this trend pans out. Globally, we have seen OTT platforms retaining consumers and multiplexes not able to attract consumers. Can India be an exception? I don't know. So we'll have to wait and watch whether multiplexes are able to draw customers from home to theater. As of today, there are lots of uncertainties in that claim, and hence we will avoid multiplex shares.
Yeah, Nilesh, next question. Yeah, Sachin.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Amit Chaturvedi just wanted to ask your questions. That is for which sector should do well in coming days, like banking, capital goods, chemicals?
So, Amit bhai, सेक्टर के ऊपर बात करें, उसके साथ साथ प्लीज रिमेंबर टू बाय गुड मैनेजर्स. बैंकिंग सेक्टर में राम भी होता है और रावण भी होता है. रावण के साथ चले गए तो पैसा नहीं बनेगा, राम के साथ गए तो ही पैसा बनेगा. Now, let's look at our own consumption. Today, when we have to open bank account, where are we opening? Effectively, there are 4 or 5 banks where we open our bank account. When we have to borrow money, where do we go? वही घूम फिर के 4-5 बैंक के पास जाते हैं. So, like multiplex, there is consolidation in banking business. 4-5 names, some PSU, some private, captures bulk of the deposits, bulk of the lending. Second, are there more Modis and Malias and Choksies in the banking system? Answer is no. Right now, our NPAs are at the lowest level in last 10 years. And this is despite oil prices and COVID. More importantly, all these NPAs are provided for. Earlier, companies used to go bankrupt and promoters का पैसा बनता था. आज promoter companies से हाथ धो देता है if they don't pay or they don't service. So from an NPA point of view, banking system is in best shape. Third, because interest rates are marginally going up, banks are making more money on their lending. Fifth, valuation-wise, banks haven't done much in last 3 years. The returns are hardly there. Put all these things together, banking and financial services, couple of private banks, 1 or 2 public sector banks are best positioned from a market outperformance point of view. The second sector where we believe should do well is capital goods. पिछले 10 सालों में orders ही नहीं आए capital goods company के लिए उतने ज्यादा. So they were cutting cost and now they have become fighting fit. And suddenly now they are getting orders from government, from private sector, from exports market. China +1 is also resulting into orders coming to India. These companies are fighting fit, order book is expanding, operating leverage will come into play. So banking and capital goods, दोनों sector बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं. But please remember, राम के साथ जाना, रावण के साथ मत जाना.
Okay, so one of the audience, Sandhya Gupta, would like to ask. Some experts are saying that Nifty can correct by 10%, but by August end. So you should lighten your position and wait to re-enter that time. Is it right or not? Because market is making new highs every day.
संजय भाई, आप एस्ट्रोलॉजर हो, मुझे पता नहीं था. मैंने और रूप ने तो अपनी जिंदगी में आज तक ऐसा बंदा नहीं देखा जो मुझे बता सके कल मार्केट कहां पे जाने वाला है. इनफैक्ट ये किस्सा है, मैंने सुना था, मैंने देखा नहीं है, बट आपके साथ शेयर कर रहा हूं. सच है झूठ है मुझे नहीं पता. एक बहुत बड़े विद्वान थे, वो टीवी पे आते रहते थे और मार्केट के ऊपर ज्ञान देते थे. मार्केट यहाँ पे टॉप करेगा, यहाँ पे बॉटिंग करेगा, यहाँ से यू टर्न मारेगा, यहाँ से साइडवेज जाएगा. सो एक फंक्शन में एक निवेशक उनको मिल गए और उन्हें कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट किया कि साहब आप बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, आपकी बातें सुन सुन के मैंने स्टॉक मार्केट में बहुत पैसा बना लिया. तो ये खुश हुए थोड़े. बोलता है अच्छा आप मुझे फॉलो करते हो? इसे नहीं जी, आप जो बोले उसको उल्टा करता हूं, पैसा बन जाता है मेरा. Now, this is what I have heard from someone and I believe it is genuine. So, Sanjay bhai, there is no way to estimate where markets will go. In Jan 20, did I or any one of person say that markets will go to 7,500? Answer is no. In March 20, did we say 7,500 is the bottom? Answer is no. In October 21, did we say 17,900 is the top? Answer is no. In July 22, did we say 15,500 is the bottom? Answer is no. All we said in Jan 20 was that please be neutral weight to equity because markets are looking little bit expensive. In March 20, at 10,000 Nifty, at 9,000 Nifty, at 8,000 Nifty, at 7,500 Nifty, we kept on saying that it is time to be overweight equity. Please increase your allocation to equity. Please catch a falling knife. In October 21, again we said, now this is time to be equal weight. And we didn't say it only 18,500 Nifty. We started saying it in almost May 21. मई से चालू हो गए थे कि अब आप प्रॉफिट बुक करना चालू कर लीजिए. Similarly, in July 22, we had no idea 15,500 is the bottom. But we said, growth story अच्छी लग रही है, ये गोरे जो बेच रहे हैं, they'll all come back to buy at some point of time. We didn't know it will happen in July 22 itself. So Sanjay bhai, my sincere request, don't believe on anyone who is telling you this is how market is going to move. Market किसी के बोलने से नहीं चलता, उसकी अपनी चाल है. Stay invested on a longer term basis. मार्केट गिरा तो ज्यादा खरीदना, बहुत भाग गया तो थोड़ा प्रॉफिट बुक कर लेना, but stay invested.
Thank you so much, sir. So, Mr. Aman Kumar would just wanted to know your view on rupee depreciation with respect of dollar.
So, rupee's destiny is to depreciate because our inflation is higher than our trade partners and our productivity is lower than our trade partners. चाइना 7 दिन में वुहान में हॉस्पिटल खड़ी कर देता है, हम 7 साल में वो हॉस्पिटल खड़ी करते हैं. My rupee has to depreciate. There is no choice till such time my inflation and productivity is better than my peer group. In the past, rupee used to depreciate 7-8% a year. Now we have brought down inflation, so we are depreciating 2 to 3% a year. But markets are markets; they don't behave in a universal fashion. So rupee sometimes appreciates, sometimes depreciates, but in the longer term, at this point of time, assume that rupee will depreciate by 2 to 3% every year.
Yes, sir. Next question is from Mr. Navratn Chalani, who would like to know, how do you see US inflation forward? Have we seen the high or there's still room for rise? The question is, the Fed tightening factor in US stock prices.
So US is in a very, very tough situation. Fed, मतलब जो एक हिंदी में कहावत थी रूप भाई, आगे कुआ पीछे खाई. Fed is right now exactly there. अगर पीछे जाता है तो डिफ्लेशन लेके आएगा, रिसेशन लेके आएगा, डिप्रेशन लाएगा, और आगे जाता है तो महंगाई आसमान को छू जाएगी. Fed today is in a very, very delicate situation. The commodity price correction gives confidence that inflation should come down. But the employment side, for every one US worker who is unemployed, there are 2 jobs available. Now, here there is a catch. हम इंडिया में क्या करते हैं कि सपोज नरेश भाई आप अनएम्प्लॉयड है, तो मैं आपको अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट में काउंट कर लेता हूं. In US, they ask नरेश भाई, are you willing to work? And नरेश भाई ने कहा कि नहीं, अभी मेरे को काम नहीं करना है, तो आपको अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट में काउंट नहीं करते हैं. There are 4 crore Americans, and उनकी पॉपुलेशन 35 करोड़ की, उसमें बाल बच्चे भी आ जाते हैं, बूढ़े भी आ जाते हैं. 4 crore Americans left their jobs during COVID-19, and we don't know whether they are counted in unemployed or not. Now, if America's unemployment number is fudged, then clearly Fed will have to cut interest rates rather than raise interest rates. But if the unemployment number is real, then Fed will have to raise interest rates far more than what is priced by today. So it will be suffice to say that Fed will be driven by data. They are way behind in controlling inflation. They were late in raising interest rates. Their fiscal stimulus was very, very high. Put all these things together, my feeling is that Fed will be driven by data. They'll try to predict future and try to walk that delicate line between growth and inflation. ना उसको कुआं में गिरना है, ना खाई में गिरना है, उसको खाली चलते रहना है. And उसके पांव पे कांटे पड़े हैं. Now, if this was not good enough, there is another factor. Russia had $450 billion in US dollar and other currencies security. Because it invaded Ukraine, that reserves are frozen. Now, this has created scare among every investor. What if tomorrow China invades Taiwan and their $3 trillion reserves are frozen? What if tomorrow we, try to defend ourselves like Kargil and America sides with Pakistan and freezes our reserve? Now, will the world continue to be buyer of American security? If not, then US interest rates will go much higher because every investor will be seller of US dollar. So, limited point, it's very, very difficult to predict US dollar. Fed chairman को खुद को पता नहीं है, हमें कहां से पता चलेगा? We have to focus on our growth story. And as long as the rest of the world continues to be like a desert and we are like oasis, we should be fine. In a very crude language, अंधों में काना राजा भी अपने लिए ठीक है.
Thank you so much, sir. We will take max 2 or 3 questions more. Sir, Nilesh, sir, Mr. Ravi just wanted to know, it's basically common for a common man questions. He just wanted to ask that how to find out the quality of management by a common man, because by the time we came to know their misdeed, their stocks are already crashed.
So Ravi bhai, I'm sure आपने अपने फैमिली में या खुद के लिए देखा होगा कैसे दुल्हन सिलेक्ट करते हैं या दूल्हा सिलेक्ट करते हैं. कई बार माँ बाप जाते हैं, कई बार हम खुद करते हैं. मेरी खुद की अरेंज मैरिज है, मैंने अपनी वाइफ को खुद चूज किया एंड उसने भी मुझे सिलेक्ट किया. दैट्स मोर पॉजिटिव. तो आप कैसे सिलेक्ट करते हैं? मैं जब मेरी वाइफ को पहली बार मिलने गया तो मैंने उसका एजुकेशनल बैकग्राउंड देखा, उसकी फैमिली की तफ्तीश की, उससे बातें की एंड 2-3 वीक बाद वापस मिले फिर लगा कि नहीं अपना जम रहा है तो सगाई कर ली। द सेम थिंग इज अबाउट मैनेजमेंट। उनका बैकग्राउंड चेक करिए, उन्होंने क्या बोला है पास्ट में उसको देखिए, उनकी बैलेंस शीट पढ़िए, एंड यू विल फाइंड दैट इट्स सो इजी टू आइडेंटिफाई गुड मैनेजमेंट। नाउ विल वी ऑलवेज बी राइट? आंसर इज नो। बड़ी मेहनत करके भी आप शादी कर लो तो कुछ ना कुछ डाइवोर्स तो हो ही जाता है। So if you end up selecting the wrong management, don't be afraid about it. Just cut the loss and move on. हर शादी सक्सेसफुल हो जरूरी नहीं है, बट अगर आपने ड्यू डिलिजेंस ढंग का किया है तो बाय एंड लार्ज शादी चल जाती है।
Thank you so much, sir.
Look at the vision of the management, execution of the management, and the past track record in treating minority shareholders. मतलब एक किस्सा कहना चाहता हूं कि आज लोग टाटा को मानते हैं कि दे आर द बेस्ट मैनेजमेंट। Why is that impression coming about Tatas like that? During Second World War, Tata still didn't have money to pay for workers at Jamshedpur plant. Tata family pledged their wives' jewelry to raise money from Imperial Bank of India and paid salary to Jamshedpur worker. Tata Steel was a public limited company and promoters pledged personal wealth so that the company can survive. That's how you become Tatas.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is for Roop sir. Roop sir, one of our investors just wanted to know that how to gain knowledge of multiple sectors.
सर ऐसा है, मल्टीपल सेक्टर की नॉलेज यदि करनी है तो ऊपरा ऊपरी नॉलेज करनी है तो वेरी वेल पॉसिबल है। हम लोग मतलब अधिकतर जो आपको बोल दूं, जो भी बड़े ब्रोकिंग हाउसेज बोल दूं, म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री बोल दूं, यदि उनको फुल रिसर्च करनी है तो दे आर कीपिंग फॉर ईच ऑफ द सेक्टर एनालिस्ट। अदरवाइज एक सेक्टर की डिटेल में जाना दैट इज नॉट प्रैक्टिकली पॉसिबल। और मेरा सजेशन इसमें यह रहेगा कि यदि स्टॉक मार्केट में या म्यूचुअल फंड साइड में कहीं भी आपको इन्वेस्ट करना है तो आप उसको उस नजरिए से देखिए कि आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट रियल में आपको रिटर्न जनरेट करे, रादर देन आप सभी सेक्टर, क्योंकि सभी सेक्टर की नॉलेज करना प्रैक्टिकली पॉसिबल नहीं है और उस फील्ड में आपको स्पेशलिस्ट बनना पड़ेगा। तो इसको मैं सिर्फ एक कंपैरिजन कर रहा हूँ डॉक्टर वाले से कि आप फिजिशियन के पास जाते हैं, जब तक आपको एक नॉर्मल बीमारी है आप फिजिशियन के पास में चले जाते हैं, दैट इज एब्सोल्युटली फाइन। बट यदि आपकी बीमारी क्रिटिकल हो जाए तो यू आर ऑलवेज गोइंग टू ए स्पेशलिस्ट डॉक्टर। ओके, एंड स्पेशलाइजेशन जो है डॉक्टर का वो एक इलनेस का मेनली होता है, मैक्सिमम से मैक्सिमम 2 का हो सकता है, उससे ज्यादा नहीं हो सकता है। तो दिस इज द रियल सीन। तो मेरा सजेशन ये रहेगा कि आपके खुद के इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए आप फिजिशियन मत बनिए, यदि बनना है तो एक फील्ड का एक्सपर्ट बन जाइए और बाकी फील्ड के लिए आप बाकी लोगों की कंसल्टेंसी ले लीजिए। दिस इज माय एडवाइस टू यू।
Thank you, Roop sir. One more question for you, Roop sir. We will take this is the second last questions. Roop sir, आपके लिए सवाल है मिस्टर प्रीतेश जैन के। He just asking what will be the appropriate allocation of equity and other asset class in a percentage wise.
Pritesh ji, there is as such, I will say there is no fixed formula towards this particular asset allocation का। जनरल वे में बोलते हैं कि यस एक साइड में एक डिफरेंट फॉर्मूला चलता है मार्केट में कि भाई आपकी जितनी एज है 100 से एज के नंबर को मतलब आप वो रिड्यूस कीजिए, वो बैलेंस जो बचता है उसके हिसाब से आपका एलोकेशन इक्विटी में हो। बट मेरा मानना है कि दिस इन्वेस्टमेंट इज मोर रिलेटेड टू योर रिस्क एपिटाइट एंड द अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ मनी फॉर ए लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट वर्सेस शॉर्ट टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट। तो आपके गोल नक्की करने पड़ेंगे कि आपके आगे क्या क्या गोल है, आपकी रिक्वायरमेंट कब की है, और बेस्ड ऑन दैट आपका एसेट का एलोकेशन डिसाइड होएगा। काफी दफे ये होता है रिस्क एपिटाइट की जब अपन बात करें, एक आदमी जिसके पास में 5 लाख रुपया ही है उसको बोलो 5 लाख में से 1 लाख का रिस्क लेना, बोले मैं तैयार हूं। दूसरी साइड जिसके पास में 1 करोड़ रुपए इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए है वो बोलेगा नहीं मेरे को 1 लाख रुपए लूज नहीं करना है, मेरे को ऐसा चाहिए एसेट जो प्रोटेक्टेड हो। ओके, तो वो रिस्क एपिटाइट प्लेज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल व्हाइल डिसाइडिंग द एसेट एलोकेशन। एंड अदर देन दैट, जैसे मैंने बोला कि आपका ऑब्जेक्ट क्या है आगे, वो चीजें नक्की करती है। मेरी सलाह इसमें ये रहेगी कि आप अपने एडवाइजर से कांटेक्ट करें जो भी है, एंड वी विल ट्राई टू गाइड यू देयर कि या हाउ टू योर एसेट एलोकेशन शुड बी देयर फॉर यू एंड योर फैमिली, दैट इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट। सो इट विल डिपेंड अपॉन ईच पर्सन। बट इन जनरल यदि कोई बोले गोल्ड सिल्वर का एलोकेशन, तो जनरली हम लोग बोलते हैं 5 से 10% आप उसमें डाल दीजिए। इक्विटी में मैं बहुत जनरलाइज बोल रहा हूँ बट इट्स नॉट ए स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड थिंग, 50 to 60% allocation into equity side, debt side में almost 20 to 25% allocation and balance जो other assets का है. But at the same time इस asset allocation को fix नहीं रखा जा सकता है. जैसे नीलेश भाई ने बहुत rightly बताया कि जिस टाइम में उस assets में बहुत ज्यादा fear हो, बहुत ज्यादा reduce हो जाए, उस टाइम में आपको allocation increase करना है उस asset में. पर अधिकतर लोग ये करते हैं कि उस टाइम में reduce करते हैं, which is not a right theory. So I will say कि yes, this asset allocation is depend upon individual to individual.
Thank you, Roop sir.
Yeah. Sir, though we have many questions, but I would like to ask last question from Nilesh Shah, sir. Sir, one of the audience, Mr. Ravi Age would like to ask, horizon for retired persons to stay invested in equity as life expectancy of Indians is increasing, vis-a-vis bonds or mutual funds?
Undoubtedly, Ravi bhai, the life expectancy of India is increasing. The way medical science is advancing, most of us are likely to live longer than what we had budgeted earlier. Now, all of us would like to live financially independent life, and that can only be achieved through three things. One, regular investment. Even post-retirement, you have to ensure that out of your income, you save something and invest regularly. Second, you have to ensure that you are invested for long term. मैं retire हो गया, that doesn't mean that my investment becomes short term oriented. I may end up having a longer life than my working life. And third, maintain asset allocation. Many retirees feel that why should I invest in equities? There's so much of volatility. Well, equities outperform other asset classes, and hence you need to invest over there. So if you be a regular investor, long-term investor and asset allocator with discipline, I think equity will play an important role in your financial freedom. Now, whether you achieve that by direct equity, if you have time and energy to understand companies, or come by equity mutual fund, results will be virtually similar.
Yes, sir. So, though this was last question, but I would like to ask one more question, which is from Mr. Vineet. He's asking earlier, whenever US market crashes, it has adverse impact on Indian market. But of late, a trend is seen where even if US market crashes, it does not have much impact on Indian market. So, can you give your thoughts on it?
So essentially, this is more psychology. Markets in the short term are driven by flows, and over medium to long terms are driven by fundamentals. Now, in the old days, which you mentioned, the flows were driven by FPIs. Now, those FPIs were mainly coming from US and Europe. And when global markets corrected, their reaction was similar in Indian market. And in the short term, prices are driven by flows. And unke paas sabse zyada paisa tha, it made an impact. Over the years, over the decades, domestic institutional investors have started emerging big. Mutual funds, insurance companies, retail and high net worth individuals, ये सारे मिलके FPI के सामने खड़े रहने लगे. Now, we are more driven by our fundamentals than by flows. If American markets are down because their inflation is high, and if FPIs come to sell in India, we take this as an opportunity and we buy them out because our inflation is lower than them. So as local investors' flow started matching foreign investors' flows, our markets linkage vis-a-vis US markets have started reducing. It's not completely off, but it has reduced significantly. And it is all thanks to fund flow coming from domestic investors, including mutual fund, insurance companies, and retail and HNI investors. उम्मीद है ये मकाम आगे भी ऐसा ही रहेगा, गोरे बेचेंगे और हम लोग खरीदेंगे.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering this question. At the end, I won't take much of your time, but I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates of the webinar.
Sachin, you need to mute yourself, please.
Yeah, as I was saying, I would like to express my gratitude to all our esteemed delegates of the webinar for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. I extend my gratitude to our honorable chief guest, our CEO, Mr. Roop Bhootra, and Mr. Nilesh Shah, MD from Kotak AMC, who took out time from their busy schedule to grace the event. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Roop, sir, and thank you, Nilesh, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.